Hey everybody, it's Dr. Spinda. Glad to come to you here to talk about something you've probably all been excited about here, the last chapter, chapter 9 of the textbook, and kind of where we go from here. Like I said, I wanted to kind of discuss a little bit about chapter 9 and just kind of give you some highlights here. I think the chapter does a really nice job of taking old information and framing it back. So if you notice, the properties of conflict interaction from chapter 1 of the text are actually kind of rehashed here in talking about third-party intervention. And again, this is something that's kind of well-treaded ground given our focus on mediation for most of the semester. But I do want to go over a few things here in chapter 9 that I thought were particularly interesting. Overall, just the idea of mandates, types of control, and intervention approaches that third parties use are all interesting topics, but I really start getting into some of the items towards the end of the chapter. And in particular, some of the ones I'm looking at are the idea of sharpening conflicts, which is in that call-out box from pages 271 to 273. I found that to be an interesting concept. Another one that I thought that really deserves a second look is the idea of framing strategy. So in other words, how do third parties frame interactions, and the strategies they use to do that can be found on pages 275 and 276. And then carrying on from there, the idea that the third parties have face needs, of course, that we all have face needs in conflict, and kind of this idea of bidding, which we talked a little bit in the last question of exam 2 about the idea of relational bid. So the idea of face party and relational bids that are made by third party intervening parties. You can find some information from pages 276 to 278 regarding that. And I think probably the most interesting part of this whole chapter for a lot of you who work in organizations is going to be found on page 284, where they really get into the idea of managers as third parties in conflict intervention. Some of the research, what does it indicate, good or bad, and kind of talks about some of the roles that managers play in this third party intervention. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you for all your patience, and hopefully you've learned a lot from this textbook and learned a lot from each of the chapters. So my hope is that you finish it up strong in chapter 9. Finish up the conflict journals. The conflict journals were last week. The conflict discussion board this week, and then going into finals week next week. So I will give an announcement on the front page of the Blackboard page to kind of explain a little bit more about where we go from here. But thank you again. Have a great day.